pussy bitch. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Lord John Toohey.
And this is Invasion of the Polly Snatchers. Let's get to it, motherfuckers. All right, no. Scream. Well, all right, no, we're back. Once again, we're going to go to Woodsboro, where we had so much fun during Shocktoberfest last October.
Yeah, it's not so long ago.
Yeah, we did many a franchise Friday during that month. We nearly killed ourselves. And Scream was one of the franchises that we covered. And we absolutely had a lot of fucking fun doing it. And we're back again 10 years on from the last Scream installment. We got Scream 5, which is just titled Scream. I hate them to do that. It's part 5. Just call it Scream 5.
Call it Scream 5. Just own it. Own it. Yeah. Own it. That's the 5th time you're bleeding the stone. Just own it. Like, we're going to see it. We're suckers. Like, like if anything, rub it in our face.
Do you think that's why they stopped using the numbers after a while? Because they can't own how much they've ran out of ideas?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, of course. You can't literally make a Halloween 11. It just sounds... Even in the film, they're talking about stab 8.
Yeah.
And it just sounds so stupid.
That's why they give him subtitles instead of numbers after a while.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So I went back. I went into this with a very open mind. I'm going to pat myself on the back here for a second. I absolutely did. And I had no expectations of it. I looked at no trailers, seen a few pictures, a few stills. That's about the extent of it. And I have to say, I really enjoyed the movie. I think it kind of lost a bit of cohesion there at the end. And I think that if it suffered for one thing, to jump to the end of the conversation, because this is where my train of thought is that it didn't need to exist.
Yeah.
The film undeniably didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
It was entertaining as hell. The kills were visceral. I thought it was very smart at times. I thought it was like formulaic, but in a Scream movie, you want it to be. That's kind of like the meta point of a Scream movie. So I just enjoyed it. And again, it was so visceral, like where the guy gets stabbed through the neck and it's just really slow and it goes in and out through his windpipe. I thought, wow, that's more visceral. They're not playing to a young audience here. They're not trying to get the under 15s in at all. They made an actual visceral slasher movie. So yeah, I thought it lost a bit of cohesion at the end, but I have to say I was very entertained last night. It was a good form after watching it.
You say like it didn't need to exist because part 4 itself wrapped up so well.
Part 4 wrapped it up so well, and also you have the reveal at the end. It's not a spoiler of any description, even though we are going to have spoilers to say.
Yeah,
the killers reveal
with their spoilers 3, 2, 1 because it's so new. It's not like what we normally talk about.
Okay, spoilers 3, 2, 1. So the killers reveal themselves, and it turns out to be the boyfriend, Jack Quaid's character.
Wee Huey, I think his name was.
Richie and Amber, and the whole thing is that they were so obsessed with the Scream franchise and how it lost the Stab franchise and how it lost itself, and they wanted to make like a real sequel. And I was like, really? It's not a lot. Like, it's not a lot for me to work with.
Yeah,
I felt
there's not enough
to blame Billy Loomis's daughter, even though like the chick is supposed to be, I don't know, 19. Billy Loomis died in 96. I have no idea how their math works there.
Yeah,
but
she's supposed to be in her mid-20s, I think.
She's supposed to be in her mid-20s. Well, fair enough, yeah. And then so I thought like, no, that's not enough for me. I needed a little bit more. Even it doesn't even have to be clever. Like, I mean, the first one, they were just serial killers. The second one, it was a revenge thing. The third one is the director of the Stab movie and all that. That worked for me. This time, the reveal, I was just like, it's an awful lot of effort.
Yeah,
an awful lot of effort, guys.
The third one was Sidney's estranged brother.
Sidney's estranged brother.
Miles or something, or Mitchell or Miles. But I thought
the fourth one was her cousin. So I guess, they had to keep...
I thought the big reveal was too early. I think they got mixed up with what the reveal should have been. Like, Billy Loomis's daughter should have been the reveal much later in the movie, where it was kind of like a backbone of the movie. That should have been your reveal, And what ethnicity is that girl? Because she looks 100% Latina, and she's supposed to be Billy Loomis's daughter. I don't know. I know, just bad casting. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I mean, okay. If we're going to talk about the what we kind of really like about a film like this, I like the fact that even the legacy characters didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that the deaths were quite brutal. Although getting stabbed really isn't that big a deal. You just don't die unless you're stabbed 9+ times. Everyone that got stabbed just shows up alive. Nobody just gets stabbed, dies.
Yeah.
But I thought I was watching it, and even the stuff I didn't like, I was kind of laughing at. But the second the Jenna Ortega's character, the girl from the start, Tara, the second she couldn't find her inhaler, I was like, oh, so that's who the killer is. Like literally instantly. Because nothing happens for no reason in a film, nothing at all. She's like, oh, I'll have a backup. And the only person she was left alone with was Richie. And Richie's like, oh, no, I'm not going back. But I guess if we have to. Like, all right, so Richie's one of them. You know?
Did you call Richie it was the killer, did you?
Oh, God, yeah. I have to say I was guessing. And I didn't know who the second one was going to be. And I knew it felt like a two-man job.
Yeah.
But then I called him. Like, at that moment, I was like, oh, so it's Richie. Like, he just basically revealed himself.
Yeah, I knew one of them was a woman because of just the body shape when they were fighting earlier on. I think it was like the first scene or the second scene with Ghostface in it, and I turned around to Lorraine and go, "That's definitely a woman anyway." Like 100%, you can always tell, and like they always try to disguise it. But I think if you have a male and a female killer, you can nearly always tell, and that's why it felt like a two-man job. Some of the things that one of the ghost faces were doing in terms of physicality were obviously much more than what the other one was doing. Even
one
though,
of them, like, Amber's quite a petite female.
Yeah,
like
she fucked up Dewey something fierce though.
She fucked up Dewey something fierce, and I love the it's been an honor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
His death scene was the best part of the whole movie.
His death scene was just fantastic, and that gave it the legacy characters. You know, they killed off the sheriff and her son, and the sheriff had been in the fourth one, so she had that kind of like, okay, not legacy character, but somebody who had survived the events of a film and had come out the other side. But there was a few things that pissed me off because she killed the sheriff, for example, and then there's the
she didn't shoot the deputy. She didn't do it.
But then the kid's having a shower, and he gets out and he goes downstairs, and they do like 9 red herrings. It got a little bit like, he opens the fridge, he gets something out, he closes the fridge, Then he goes to the sink and he opens the pantry, and he's standing there and he closes the pantry. You know, and then he goes to the front door, he's going to open it up. Now you're stabbed this sheriff to death on her street outside, and you hang around for 3 or 4 minutes in the house to stab another guy. I just thought, no, you wouldn't do that. You just the first Scream had that kind of somebody got in, did whatever was to be done, and got the fuck out of there. I mean, got the fuck out of there straight away. This one had like, any chance law enforcement would be about, or neighbors or something like that. If you stab someone in broad daylight outside their house on a busy street, you get the fuck out of there.
The sheriff,
you know, and it's the sheriff of all people. But she hangs around. If you're going in after the sun, just go and do it and get out of there. Like, that's, I don't know. There was that kind of, I don't know, that pissed me off a bit, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I'm the same way, because like I think it was I know, lazy storytelling. Like, because there's a part in the hospital as well. So you're telling me this girl who just got attacked by a person that is copycatting as one of the most notorious, if not the most notorious serial killer in all of California, right?
In all of the world at this point. I mean, it had spawned its own universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Eight movies.
Yeah, exactly. So like one of the most notorious killers probably in history, right? And then you have a guy that's person that's copycatting them, and that person that was attacked by the person that was copycatting is in hospital. Currently. Currently in hospital. And what happens? He attacks the fucking estranged sister immediately after she gets there. I'm like thinking, what the fuck? Who would attack? Like, name one serial killer that would go after his intended target in the hospital right after their previously failed attack. You know, it makes no sense.
Like mass killers and stuff like that, that's what they do. It's not about getting away with it.
Yeah.
Spree killers, not really about getting away with it. But if somebody is a serial killer, somebody's trying to kill as many people or killing towards some sort of code, it is over a period of time, even like a condensed period of time, where you're looking for victims of opportunity. But eventually it was just like, is there no security cameras, or they just take out the electricity to the hospital and stab the cops to that? Just
like
felt like
a hospital that would have definitely have generators, because it's a hospital.
Yeah, a hospital that would definitely have generators that are not accessible to the public.
Yeah, massive. You know, like
there's levels.
Huge.
At the very start of the film, Tara tries to lock her house, and somebody hacked her home security system because she's locking the house with her smartphone. And I said, right, so I'm looking for somebody who's extremely internet savvy, extremely internet savvy, a hacker even. And that's just never touched upon again.
Well, you know, we do see what's his face, Wee Huey. We see him with a laptop at least several times.
Yeah, fair, yeah. And wait a minute, Vinny, don't you have a laptop?
Well, what's your favorite scary movie? Surprise!
I did like there's
Noel.
So one thing I did like, for example, at the start, because it's kind of a more walk time that we're living. So you were asking like, "What's your favorite scary movie?" She goes, "I like the Babadook. I thought it was such an interesting take on motherhood." I was like, that is what would happen if you asked someone, a young lady, it's just like at home doing her own thing. What's her favorite horror movie? She might just give you an answer like that. It wouldn't be like, "Oh, I just like anything with Jason Voorhees." That's the way we would have answered it in 1996, and rightfully so. And now it's just like, well, cinema has spread out, and now it's like, well, I like this one because I thought it was like held up a mirror to society or something, but I actually laughed at it. I thought that was funny. I have to say, ultimately I enjoyed it, even though it sounds like I'm shitting on it. It can't get around the fact that at the end I was just like, yeah, this film really didn't need to exist. Like, this doesn't carry on. Or why can't I just do this 9 more times? As in, what, people who just like the franchise? Okay, yeah, let's just do that again. Like, that's not. Yeah, it doesn't tie to Sidney Prescott. I like the fact that they're trying to move away from her in one way.
Yeah,
but it doesn't tie to her. It's ancillary. It's just, well, they need to be doing it for some reason. It doesn't have to be a good reason, because there's no good reason to go around stabbing young people. But
depends on who the young people are. Maybe
depends on who the young people are.
It could be a vendetta, whatever. I don't want to get into someone's motives here, Noel. I'm not about someone's motives. Everybody, whatever. If we do a little bit of spree killing in our spare time, whatever, we hunt people, whatever. We hunt people in the woods. Maybe both of us, definitely one of us, maybe me. But like, that happened. Not a big deal. It's not something we should judge someone for. I think open-mindedness is necessary in every situation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially when it comes to hunting the greatest game of all, man. That's all. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. But
hashtag justice for Jar Jar. Hashtag hunt your fellow man. But tell me, okay, I'm going to ask you a strange question, but it popped into my head, so I'm going to do it. What, you've just finished the film, you're sitting there with the missus. What was the first thing you said to her? Well, it's just wrapping up.
I don't know if I said it, but what I felt was, when it came up literally for Wes, or Remembering Wes, that I was like, yeah, I felt Wes Craven's absence. Like, I don't like
good point.
Did Wes Craven direct Part 4?
I was trying to. I was going to take. I was guessed that maybe he did, like, because it's about a year before it comes out. I think Wes Craven died in the last 10.
Yeah, he directed Part 4, and Kevin Williamson wrote it. Who did the first 3, if I'm not mistaken. But it felt like, to me, it was made by fans of the property, but it didn't feel like it was
certainly made by fans.
It was made by fans of the property and people that had an understanding of the franchise they're operating in, but it just lacked a little bit of that cleverness that all the other ones had. Just that little bit of it had tongue in cheek, and don't get me wrong,
it had that. Well, I'll give it that. I laughed at some words,
but I laughed as well. But it just I don't know. There's something about it. It's like, it kind of like they didn't. The cast itself were good at times, but to me, it felt like sometimes they didn't buy into the meta-ness of the movie, and they were trying to make it a little bit more serious than the other screams. Like, the other screams, always like, don't get me wrong, there's always a lot of butchering and gore and killing and mayhem, but there's always that weird, dark, gallows sense of humor behind it all. And Randy's niece, I thought she was absolutely brilliant in it. What's her name? The girl with the curly hair.
Randy's niece. Oh, Randy's niece. Yeah. It's funny. I was just watching Yellow Jackets, and she was this woman's probably going to pop up. Jasmine Savoy Brown. She was very good in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suspected her and her twin brother kind of at one point, because they're the niece and nephew of legacy characters, and she was the one who had the whole, like, knew how it worked.
Yeah.
She was the one who kind of said, she was the one who gave the rules talk for the new generation.
Can I just say one thing? Like, I don't know about who Randy's mother is banging, or unless those kids are adopted, because they're gorgeous. And they're like a 9, a 10. Like, I'm not afraid to say it. That dude is good looking. She's beautiful. And then I'm just saying, Her husband must be incredibly good looking to carry the
Oh
gene.
yeah, her
That's all I'm
just
saying.
just an absolute Adonis of a man.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
must be
yeah,
married to The Rock. Is all I'm saying.
yeah.
Because
It must be like
the
just.
kids are
It
gorgeous.
must be like one of those moments where if you didn't see him on screen, you'd be like, "Oh, so I'm not completely straight." Just straight away.
No, I already had that with Wes in you know how to get away with murder.
But you know what? It is funny as well because there is again that je ne sais quoi or whatever that thing, that the X factor is something you can't put your finger on, something you can't put into words. But it's like, you know, when somebody has left your favorite band and they release a record, and it's like, that's an excellent record. It sounds like them, but I can't tell you, but I know it's missing.
Yeah.
And this had like, it had the chops in a very literal sense. It had the setup. It brought it into the new generation, although 4, to be fair, had already done that. And it brought the technology along, but again, 4 had already done that. But it was missing something. And at the end, when the killers were all revealed, I hadn't really bought into anybody enough to care about them. I felt like I bought into some of the original kids enough to actually care about them. So the deaths were just like, I remember just watching a few of them and going, oh, that was a good death. I was like, you know, where the douchebags taking a piss outside the bar. And you know, the car's lights shine on him. He comes up to the car and he just boom, stabbed in the throat and just kind of left. And I was like, oh, that's kind of like brutal. It's very gritty and realistic that somebody would just bleed out. It'd be a horrible way to die. And but at the same time, as much as that all felt very Scream, I was just like, what is it? And I think I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care at all what happens to any of these people.
Do you think the style of killing was out of place for a Scream movie?
It was a little bit grittier, even when they were killing the bad guys. They weren't. It wasn't like funny, like, you know, TV dropped on your face. It was like they were begging to live and stuff like that. So I had this kind of realism, which I'm not saying I'm opposed to. In fact, you know, everybody going like rah, running at guns and stuff. I don't really buy, but at the same time, it didn't feel like previous Scream films, whether that's a good or a bad thing. But no, it didn't feel like previous Scream films. And I would point to the deaths of both killers. Well, there was a headshot for Amber because Amber was the one who came back. But you know, where she's like, please, I'm sorry about Dewey, and she gets shot and she goes up in flames. But and the kid that the sheriff's son, when he got stabbed through the throat, that was not like him getting chased around, throwing stuff at the killer and the killer catching up and stabbing him. Like, that was just a horrible death.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's very horror movie, but it didn't feel like previous Screams. But I don't know if I'd hold that against it. Like, because, you know, you're doomed if you do and you're doomed if you don't. If something's not new enough, you're doomed. And if something's not like what we expect, you're also doomed. So I suppose I would say yes. It doesn't feel like the other ones, but I'm not going to make that as a judgment.
Yeah, I would judge it because it's the same thing I judged Halloween on, the new Halloween Age 40 Halloween kills, is that you have to operate underneath the same rules of the franchise. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to go have Michael Myers, if you want to go have your serial killer kill 12 firemen, even though that scene is incredible, like it shows them.
It actually is an awesome scene.
Yeah, it's a crazy scene. But if you want to have your serial killer do that, kill 12 guys, and the way he kills them in an unstoppable force of nature, go make a Friday the 13th movie. Okay? Because that's what Jason Voorhees does. That's not what Michael Myers does, right? If you want your killers to stab guys through the throat, stab guys through the cheek, you want him to stab people repeatedly and show that repeated stabbing, go make a different movie, because that's not how Ghostface operates. And if it does, that's not how he operates within the Scream franchise, because Wes Craven does implied horror. Like a lot of the older horror maestros, they do a lot of implied horror. What he would have done, you show 1 or 2 stabs and you show a slash and then you do a cut to, and in you know that person got butchered,
or even like that the knife comes up and it stabs down and then Scream comes up on the No,
I mean, like, even like if you like look at Drew Barrymore's death, even though at the start of Scream it's very bloody, but you don't actually see a lot of the killing because it's actually played through over the phone of the mother.
Even her boyfriend getting killed outside, he come back and he's been cut right across the bottom of his belly. Like it's, you know, and you see it and it's grotesque, but you did not see the cutting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's happened off camera. That's happened off camera where she was,
like because Drew Barrymore, you see her hung from the tree, but you don't see her get killed. Like
again,
yeah. So I just think that like I don't know, like a lot of these newer guys, if you're operating within a franchise that already exists, I think you need to operate underneath the rules that were set to you by the person that created the franchise. And especially a
Okay.
franchise when you have Wes Craven, who's directed all 4 movies, if I'm not mistaken. It's not like I directed Scream 1, you directed Scream 2. Wes Craven just happened to come in for part 3, and Kevin
Oh, and
Williams.
he wasn't a hired. This was his baby.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
well,
Exactly.
to back up your. That said, to speak in somewhat defense, I would say like suddenly making Michael Myers Jason Voorhees as in mass killer, and also like an entire clip to his chest, and he gets up and stabbed, and he gets up and is definitely now a supernatural killer. That is such a huge departure
from the first one.
Huge from everything that's Michael Myers. Like, you know, we all flirted with the is he just an extremely aggressive, lucky kind of, but like person, or that's just completely and totally evil.
He's evil, pure evil.
The darkest eyes.
It's like, sir, so what is your diagnosis for the 7-year-old boy? He's got the darkest eyes I've ever seen. He's just playing with some Crayolas.
Probably. Yeah, maybe if you got him a different doctor. Like,
yeah. What are you saying? You're gonna replace me? You're evil. You're pure evil. And like, imagine that Loomis is just on 11 all the time. Like, you know, he just can't turn off. It's like, hey, Loomis, I think somebody stole your parking spot. Oh my God, he's got the blackest eyes I've ever seen. Loomis, you've got to tone it down, dude.
It's the blackest car I've ever seen in my life.
It's totally devoid of color, that car. Chill, Loomis, chill.
But I say, it's like, I mean, if they made it grittier, I don't know, it's as big a departure. But you're right that the killings didn't feel like Scream killings. They were like they were uncomfortable in a way that Scream spared you.
Yeah. They weren't as they were frenetic, but they showed you the freneticism, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I that's the thing. I think what you really have to worry about is make me care about the fact that someone's getting killed.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. If it's going to be a thing and it's not going to be a Die Hard and it's going to be a big shootout and we're only worried about John McClane, that's fine. That works. That's enjoyable. But that's not what Scream is. I cared about those kids. Like Rose McGowan had one of the best deaths, I think, in horror history, because it was the whole, she didn't buy it. She was playing along and then she tries to escape. And then there's that kind of really kind of interesting death with the
I love the part, my favorite part of that scene, not to cut across, is the beginning when she goes into the garage.
Yeah. And there's a whole don't go down to the basement alone kind of that carried on 25 years later, just from her.
And you can see her nipples through her shirt. I was kind of hinting at it, and you weren't picking it up. So I just had to say it. Because, you know, it's a cool garage is all I'm saying. Whatever.
Yeah, those they wanted us to know at home that the beers would be cold, and they couldn't because we couldn't feel the beers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called cinema.
Yeah, visual storytelling methods. That's what it is.
Yeah, but it make me care, and then like have them have the quickest, like, you know, one gunshot and they die instantly, and I'll care. Yeah. And then give me just another kind of, like, I mean, to be fair, one of the Chads was called Chad.
Yeah,
they just called him Chad and made him a footballer.
Yeah,
there was a footballer called Chad. I didn't care when they started stabbing him. I didn't feel good about it or bad about it. It was just Chad. A scene that was happening, you know. It was just like,
no, it's Chad. No,
no, not Chad. Oh, no, Chad. Stop it. Oh, damn him! But he's been 20 years younger than me and better looking than me, and having no discernible personality for me to latch onto. No, I don't care.
Don't stab him in his perfect abs.
Yeah, but it's fine. Yeah. How did he survive? Did the knife just break off and he's perfectly chiseled abs? Was that,
No, he'd never be an Abercrombie, a Finch model.
Yeah. But I didn't. I think to be fair, they didn't focus on the kids as much. You know, like the little group. We kind of left them for long periods of time, and it was more the story of, you know, two sisters, and that's fine. That was one way to go. But I wouldn't do. Yeah, if you're going to make me, I just, a death is worth more if you make me care. And this film didn't make me care. I have to say, with the exception of Tara at the start, we got to know a little bit of her actual personality. Yeah. And her, like, and it was prolonged. There was the whole, like, question when the security was, did I get into the house and all that? I cared. I have to say, it was a great opening. No way she would have survived that, by the way.
Yeah, especially like her. She's such a small woman too. Like
such a small girl, and she takes it like one through the hand. a big slash and at least two in the belly. I mean,
Like
there's
you stab a
stuff
girl
in there you need.
Yeah, you stab a girl that skinny with a knife anyway, so it's going right through her.
Yeah, she's a small lady. And yeah, and to be fair, I was glad she survived because she was actually kind of one of the better characters.
Yeah, no,
she was actually a likable character. She ran the gambit between desperation and actually being an absolute boss. Like, you know, she fought back absolutely tooth and nail, but she was terrified. And that's the way you would, that's the reality of it. You'd hope you'd fight back. You would be terrified. That's just the reality of it. So I thought she actually did a stellar job. I thought she was one of the best things about the film.
Should she have been the main character, you think?
I think she would have been a very strong main character. I believed her. You know what I mean? Like every scene she was in, I believed her. I think that Jenna Ortega did an absolutely excellent job in it. I believe the sister as well, but the Billy Loomis thing, I think they were trying this film tried so hard to also be like a natural sequel to the first film in a way. It was overtly, they went back to Stu's house.
A requel.
A requel. They even talked about
First time I ever heard that term, and I'm going to use that a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, so that's what Halloween is, and that's what Candyman is. Yeah. But they kind of, and to be fair, they wore it on their sleeve, even by like addressing it in the middle of the film. But you had Billy Loomis's daughter up against a killer who's trying to frame Billy Loomis's daughter, and it all takes place in Stu's house.
Yeah, Stu Macker.
Now that sounds like a sequel idea that somebody probably flirted with years ago.
Yeah.
And it was the killers really were actually trying to make a natural sequel, a sequel to Stab that was worthy of the moniker. Because why are we crazy? Because we love something, dude. It's a movie.
Yeah, but
it's a movie.
They didn't really portray their craziness in the same way that Emma Roberts
and
Rory Culkin, I think it was, Macaulay's younger brother. When they turned, you felt it, and it made sense. Yeah. And when they turned and they started to convey they started to say to Sydney, "This is why we did it," kind of how we hatched our plan and why we hatched our plan. You felt it. You felt that kind of need, that need for likes, the generation. Like Emma Roberts is such a talented actor, and I think maybe that's what it is. You got lucky. You got
her beating the shit out of herself after killing Rory Culkin's murderer. Her beating the shit out of herself was iconic to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I just tipped my cap to the lady.
Ed Norton in Fight Club beating the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, she knew that it wouldn't be, because that's what happened. Like, I mean, that's why I still suspected Richie in this. The killer showed up and he sliced him, sure, and then he left him on the ground, and he was just like, "Why are you dead? Dude, your arm got cut. Like, are you unconscious? Like, you know?" And they didn't kill him, so that was. But at the same time, Emma Roberts was like, "Yeah, no, that's not going to cut it. I need to get fucking hurt, hurt." And I love that. I thought that was probably the best scene Scream 4.
Yeah,
but I again, when the guy was such a sniveling little coward that when he turned bad, I always just thought he was a bit like, I don't know, pathetic or something, you know, because sometimes the person, like the real docile person turns out to be the killer. The Kaiser Sose walk at the end is phenomenal, but this just did not feel earned.
Spoilers.
To the same degree. Kaiser Sose.
So I like the big reveal where Kaiser Sose is the Ghostface.
That's there's your film.
Well, it's a scary movie. You know what I mean?
But I know, again, it can be earned, but like he there was a whole thing before he gets stabbed himself. Richie Reed does like the one like maniacal laugh, and I was like, dude, that's your first maniacal laugh. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not feeling it. Yeah, maybe I'm just not feeling it. Maybe it's not even anyone's fault. I just know that I wasn't feeling it.
There's no offense to Jack Quaid, but he just didn't come. He's too nice. I think he just doesn't come. Like, Rory Culkin, when he turns, like, he conveyed, like,
he stabs Hayden Pantiere's character, and he, all of a sudden it was in his eyes.
It's too late.
Yeah, and he pulled back, and it was in his eyes straight away. I just went, whoa! It's right there in his eyes. Jack Quaid's Richie. Yeah, I actually agree with you. He pulled back and he was like, "I'm sorry, it's me," because it's the classic trope in Screams is you hug them because you're relieved to see them and they're stabbing you in the belly at that exact same time.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. And he's like, yeah, I know, it's me. And I was like, yeah, I know. The
Yeah, no, but yeah, I just thought like Rory Culkin when he turned in Scream 4, he just kind of came across to me like the school, like you ever see interviews with school shooters that survive and stuff like that.
I said the exact same thing.
Yeah, you know, it's just that kind of thing.
Did.
Yeah, and I think maybe because of the era he came up in, and that was so prevalent.
But even had the grunge look, you know what I mean? Even just like, because you always go back to not Sandy Hook, sorry, it was Columbine. Yeah. That's the one that kind of almost feels like, and these guys had that 1990s grunge kind of look, and Culkin had that, and it instantly made me think of that, and I bought it. Yeah. And Emma Roberts had the shallow, anything for like sick of living in the shadow of her famous Sidney fucking Prescott cousin, and I bought that instantly.
Yeah, because it probably feels a little bit about for Julia Roberts. It's like, you know what I mean, living in the shadow of your famous aunt.
Yeah, fucking A.
You know,
well, she's not doing bad, you know.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure she channeled a little bit of that.
She probably did,
yeah,
because she's never going to have the career that Julia Roberts has, because very few people do.
Yeah, exactly.
Not it's not a pop.
Because Julia Roberts,
because very few people do.
Yeah, top 10 of all time in terms of fame.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like they'll be doing Pretty Woman in film schools in 100 years' time. Like, I mean, it was, you know, that iconic. But yeah, she probably did channel that. And 4 was not the best Scream. It wasn't even the second best Scream. You know,
it was better than 3, though. I thought
it was better than 3. But when I rewatched 3, I said this to Sheila last night because she's never seen 3. I said I hated it when it came out. I was young. I went to it in the cinema and I went, "That's not a Scream movie." And then when I rewatched it, and I was kind of like, "Oh well, you know, I have to do my homework. I'm going to watch it, but I know I don't like this movie." And then I kind of appreciated how meta it was.
Yeah,
it was a self-aware film inside of a self-aware film.
Yeah,
and like it was aware of its own silliness, and I didn't give it credit for that the first time around.
Yeah, it was too smart.
It's not the best Scream. It was it was smart. I didn't give it as much credit, I think, as I probably should have.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. But I appreciated it kind of on retrospect. And this one I appreciate. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I actually think if the killer reveal had been better, because you know when something kind of doesn't work for you, it's a ripple effect that goes back through the film.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I instantly didn't enjoy stuff that I did enjoy.
Because the last thing you remembered.
Yeah. Because it's also like, oh, so that's why this, and that's why this, and that's why this. Like the questions are now answered.
Yeah.
And the answer didn't work for me. So now, you know, because it's especially when it's a whodunit. You have to, like, horror has to stick the landing, and it's where horror usually messes up. But if you have a whodunit, then it's all about that ending. That's
what I loved about talked about, like a proper stab movie. It's just like straight up slasher whodunit. Yeah, no, straight up. And that is like the funny thing about it was that's the ingredients to make a Scream movie, and they mention it in this Scream movie whilst not using those ingredients to make a good Scream movie.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it. Maybe you just needed less. You know what I mean? He needs somebody who screams in his blood, like, you know.
Exactly. Like you can say like John Carpenter linked to Halloween, Wes Craven linked to Friday the 13th. You could say Wes Craven linked to Nightmare on Elm Street, Sean Cunningham linked to Friday the 13th. But they normally, most of the times, they didn't direct all of the installments, whereas Wes Craven directed all of Scream, as far as I know, all 4 installments. This was the only one, and I felt I felt the lack of his particular style. I felt Kevin Williamson's the lack of Kevin Williamson's script. You know, I just felt that quirkiness, that sharpness.
There is a quirkiness. There is a fun to Wes Craven. I mean, if you can take something like a child rapist, murderer, and who gets burnt alive and becomes back as a demon, and if you can kind of be so maniacal and clever that you can twist that into something that's thrilling on so many levels, then you have a natural gift. And he took that into Scream, even though it was a completely different property. And obviously he just, you know, it just goes to show that he had chops that you might have appreciated, finesse. You know, just that it was funny in a very we did. Wes Craven, like, you know, tipped the cap. Absolutely. Rest in peace. Pour one from a homie. Please don't cancel me. But I do. I felt it was missing. But I have to say, I really enjoyed it. But at the end of it, I was like, oh, you didn't justify yourself. I needed something that I can grab onto and say, like, and that's how you keep the franchise going. This didn't have that. This had this.
There's going to be one more. There's going to be one more.
Me and you watched Behind the Matrix. Sorry, what was it called? Beyond the Matrix.
A Glitch in the Matrix.
What was the thing we watched and we talked to?
A Glitch in the Matrix.
a glitch in the Matrix, and there was that kid. I said that kid who was like watched Matrix 6 times a day and wore the leather jacket and ended up shooting his parents in real. And this happened in real life, as in obsession is a very real thing, and people can be. So I get that. I get that you can actually have that. I'm not trying to say that's something. I just don't think it's good storytelling. I just don't think it's good storytelling. I think you had.
I think it was already done, wasn't it?
They obsessed, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but that was what Scream 4 was all about, wasn't it? They were obsessed with the franchise, and
oh yeah, no, like Stab was already huge in Scream 4. That's it. This was kind of like Scream 4 too.
Yeah, but not as good.
You know what I mean? This was Scream 4 too. That's
yeah.
I wish they had the balls to just call it that. That would have been great.
Yeah, no, like I just think like it didn't capture the moment in time it was made like the way the other Screams did. Like Scream 1 and Scream 2 sang of the late 90s, and Scream 3 sang of the 2000s. Scream 4 sang of like the mid 2000s. Like
I would say Scream 4 you could call it the social media age.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so, you know, and I think they really did, when you look back, and they really captured their moments in time. Whereas this one, it felt like we're going to put a lot of people in a lot of places, and we're going to kind of hope that it kind of comes together in the way we want it to, but they didn't really give it enough attention to detail to really kind of knit it together in the way it should have. And that's why I think when you say like when the big reveals and stuff don't really hit home, because like you said, you didn't take the care and that needed to make us really give a fuck about these characters in the same way previous movies did. Because I
was angry at Stu and fucking Billy. I was angry at them. Like they betrayed their friends.
Yeah. Oh, I call Billy was so shady though in part 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think that's why they went double killer.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, because I think I had Billy pegged. I was very young, but I think I had Billy pegged too. But they went double killer, and I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I cared. These were your friends.
Yeah,
there was just something about that, like as in it had absorbed me enough for me to just think, you fucking piece of shit. And I didn't. Of course, when he was like, Thingy stabbed his girlfriend Richie, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, do you think it's a case of the cast was so big in this that they didn't really give the right people enough screen time for to really flesh out their relationships? Like
this is why we're seeing such a it's a great question, because I think this is why we're seeing such a silver age, a TV age, because a lot of these things would work better in long format, and especially with TV budgets being, they can be $25 million an episode, and then you make 6, and that is a huge film's budget.
Yeah,
huge film's budget. So maybe, it was maybe too many, because a lot of times you did think some characters felt undercut, because when we got back to the twins,
turn down your phone, dude. Jesus,
I threw it away. It's the other. You know what? It's the other podcasters. It's their goddamn popularity.
This fucking guy, fucking phone beeping in the middle of recording. Can't turn it on silent even in front of him like the rest of us. Fucking shock and carry on. Smooth.
That's my version of turn on and silent. I threw it out of the room.
Why don't you just turn it on silent?
it's a crack screen issue. It's a whole thing.
but I know. I just think.
What did you like? You know what? I felt like I liked this property. I felt like I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. That is exactly that. I'm the exact same sentiments. I liked it at the end.
So what did you like?
What I liked about it was Dewey's death scene. Really hit home. I really was shocked.
As in they're not safe.
Yeah, I felt
actually not safe.
Yeah, because after that you were like, oh, who else could die? And that's a good question to have people asking in a movie where you thought 3 or 4 characters were safe because they survived so many of the other movies. But Dewey's death was great. Not great is in the fact I definitely didn't want to see the character die, but the way they portrayed it, and her saying because we find out it was Amber later on, her saying it's an honor, or that scene was amazing. And she runs and she guts him back and front. She runs it up his spine and runs it up his front. And
actually, that's when you knew he was dead. You know, when she in the back and then up. It's because he can't even really scream. Yeah, even like Dewey had been stabbed by his own initiative, the 5th one 9 times.
Yeah,
nerve damage and all that, but alive, shot twice. Wasn't it him that was hit in the head by the handle of the knife?
Yeah, screen tree. Screen tree
from the basement. But when the knife went up, it was like, fiction or not, you can't have any integrity if he survives that. That's an awful way to go.
Yeah.
So no, but massive props for that, I have to say. because then it got into more Game of Thrones territory, as in, like, we don't mess around here with characters. They're nobody's safe. You never know what we're going to decide to do.
Yeah, so in terms of what I liked, I thought Dewey's scene was given the credence it deserved. I liked Amber when she did her unmasking because she went buck wild crazy. She was good. She was more threatening to me than Jack Quaid. Look,
no, I bought her.
Amber.
Even her reveal was, "You're the killer. You're the killer." I'm not the killer. Fuck you. I'm not the killer. I know. And then bullet through the head, and it was like, now that's how you announce yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It. So they're the only things that I really, really loved out of the film, because I felt like it didn't feel 100% screamish to me because of the way the kill style was done, because of the way the killer itself hunted its victims, like the way you said, lingered around a lot. What the Scream killer did, what Ghostface normally does, is makes his kill and then reappears as themselves, as like a hero, almost constantly inserting themselves into a situation in a positive light. Whereas this person didn't really do that. It's kind of like the killers themselves lack the same nuance as the storytellers that brought them to life. Yes. That's what it was. For me, I think the people that created this version of Ghostface lacked a little bit, and it's not their fault, because who's Kevin Williamson and who's fucking Wes Craven but themselves. So it's not their fault who they're compared against. But like, out of the original trilogy, you can't really compare them. But like, when you look at part 4 and part 5, you want to make a direct comparison, I think part 4 is a far superior movie. The killers, the reveals, everything, and it felt like a Scream movie, and it felt like it captured its moment in time. Whereas this, to me, felt like it was just lacking something. It's something I said to you straight away. Just to me, I can't really put my finger on it, but I think if I was to say, I just think it lacks a little bit of the cleverness that the first 4 had, and it showed us a bit too much in the kill, like in terms of the killing. Because even though I love gruesome killings, but like, you have to remember, Scream doesn't do this killings that way. And so if you're going to operate within a Scream franchise, you have to operate within the rules that are set by the people who created it, and especially if one of them's fucking Wes Craven.
Especially if ever there was a property, it was built on actual rules.
Like
exactly. That's what it prides itself in.
Exactly.
Like, even the killers who were like, "Oh, I'm here to fucking kill Sidney Prescott, fuck up all these people," but still, there was just this like what's honor amongst thieves, or whatever the expression is, that it's just not done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She has kept her virtue, her virginity. So, it's just not done.
What do you think? You happy with it? Are you looking forward to Scream 6, and we'll get the fuck out of here then?
You know what? I just enjoyed it enough. I wish the ending had been better, because I thought that would have, again, the ripple effect, it would have made the film cohesive to me, and it would have had a foundation to have a 6th one. Like, tell me what about this one was open-ended? I don't know.
I think we might see Billy Loomis's daughter be the killer, because the way she fucked up that Jack Reed, she ravaged
we never touched about like a de-age Skeet.
De-age Skeet. I was like, the Skeet age really well, or like, what the fuck?
Sheila goes like, what? Sheila was watching it with me. She goes, "Why does that dude look weird?" She hasn't seen Scream in years. Like, she didn't do the rewatch with me. She's a bitch. There.
You said it.
Said it. No, but she was like, "Why does that dude look weird?" I said, "Babe, that's the killer from the first one, but he's 26 years older now, so de-aged him." And then he's just like, showed his teeth, and he just looked crazy.
I thought it was a different actor at first.
I know. Well, he's actually in the cast as been, whether he just lended his voice. No, that is possible.
No, I think you're right.
Just lended his voice.
They just de-aged him. Yeah, I think you're right.
They just de-aged him.
Yeah,
and
it's not well.
I thought, they could, because obviously she's got an actual psychosis. But again, check out our podcast where we talked about mental health and horror.
Yeah, on Spotify.
But please, I'm not above begging. But maybe. But that's it. Like, it's not huge, is it? It's not a terrible lot to go on. And don't get me wrong, every Scream was quite close ended. To be fair. It wasn't like the Scream or are they? No, they weren't. They were close ended. But this one felt like, well, now you've done the super fan. Like, now you can't even really inject the stab movies into it, because 3 did that, and now 5 has done that.
Well, 4 did it as well. They were super fans too.
They were super fans too. Yeah, I suppose it was actually very much so about the Stab franchise, because that's where the Sidney Prescott fame came from.
The stabathon and all that as well. Like,
stabathon, God.
Yeah. No, I
don't know, dude. It was close. I actually enjoyed it. I think I was just nostalgia really got me through it. I was just like, oh, Ghostface. There you are.
That's a
You
terrible thing to
beautiful
call
old
Courtney
bastard.
Cox.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, both
Can
of.
he say that on television or not? Oh, yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, yeah, we're good. We're good. I didn't do that to her face. She did it. So am I allowed
But
to say
like,
that? Am I
do your producers in my ear thing.
But no, I'm not allowed to say it.
No, not allowed to say it. Yeah, I thought I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't have me aching for a sixth because I didn't feel that. I don't have the same energy for the new characters. I actually think Jenna Ortega her Tara is probably the exception. I just bought her because she's just like, I know you wanted her sister is Billy Loomis's daughter, and that's big, but Tara went through some shit.
Who was the main character? What was her name? Liv? No.
It was Sam.
Oh, Sam. Yeah, I see her.
Yeah,
Melissa
it was
Barrera.
Sam. Yeah, but like Sam has inherited shit. And don't get me wrong, she went to a Scream movie, so and her boyfriend and all that. But Tara was absolutely tortured throughout that entire film. She was stabbed,
she was more believable.
Again. She was tied up. She was attacked again. She was, set up and all of that. Like by the end of it, I was like, this young woman, I understand she's probably going to be like, I'm going to say 17 or so, just underage, and she has been through hell. Now her I could see carrying the mantle. Her I could see having that Sidney Prescott energy. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, because I have a feeling it's going to go the Star Wars route. We're going to see a new trilogy, and it's going to be Courtney Cox dies in the next one, and then Nev Campbell finally dies in the last one, and then we're going to see them milk the Scream franchise for everything that it's worth. And I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to see a new Scream every fucking second year or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a universe and the stab is actually Scream.
Yeah.
Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox and David Arquette. And now it's supposed to be based on our actual world. Oh no,
Don't forget, so we actually had a Scream TV series. So like it's crazy, like to think now that
we know.
Yeah, it's kind of Scream light. But like I just think that it lacked a little bit for me, but like it's a good it's a decent movie.
I actually want people to watch the movie and you know what the thing is, we when you get into your actual fanboy and there's no point in bullshit and there's no point in lying. Answer your questions honestly. You find yourself criticizing it because you're such a fucking fanboy. But that's not to say this movie isn't worth watching. It was gratuitous. It's just I love the Scream franchise so much that I can't help but be a dick, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie because I've seen the the 5 movies and I've seen the TV series. So like, if you're going to let me operate in that world a bit more, yeah, that's cool. But I just think like, if you're going to operate within that world, I just think you need to operate within the rules set by that world. And I'm not sure if this movie did it, and I'm not sure. To me, it screamed a little bit like Halloween Kills, that it wanted to tell their own version of Scream instead of just telling another Scream story in that universe. Which is like, you could say that, every creator should have their own version, but if you want to have your own version of something, maybe don't go to a franchise, make a different movie. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in Scream, as old as it is, it doesn't own somebody with a knife killing people.
Yeah, exactly. Like
it doesn't own
everywhere.
No.
Like, so I just think it lacked a little bit for me. But like that's fucking all I have to say. It's a decent movie, and go see it or whatever. But it to me didn't
some great death scenes. Some very gratuitous death scenes. The police obviously do not function in this world at all. The phones don't exist except when the killer uses them because people don't call back. You could be stabbed on your sheriffs on the street and then hang out for a while.
Yeah, so it just lacked a bit of the cleverness, I think, the killers and the storytelling for me, in comparison to the other 4 Scream movies. And that's obviously not their fault. Who's Wes Craven, as I said, like, so you know what I mean, like, because Wes Craven is Wes Craven and he's so singular in his ability to tell horror stories that obviously you're going to pale in comparison unless you're another, like,
especially if it's your property.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't put the arrogance on yourself of putting yourself in their shoes or something. But what the stories that you're telling right now, nobody could tell them like you. Because they are your stories. It's not even a brag. They simply are you.
Yeah. So before we get the fuck out of here, I'm just going to say that to me, it didn't feel like 100% a Scream movie, but I'm a wait and see guy nowadays. So I'm just going to wait and see how Scream 6 turns out. And
Yeah,
I've no idea what way they're going to wrap up the story, but I have a feeling there's going to be two more. I said it to you in a previous podcast. I think there's
yeah.
going to be two more Screams.
Gail, then Neve, and the torch be passed, and whether they carry it on from there or not,
Yeah,
I don't know.
They'll probably take like a 2-year break. We'll have 18 more Scream movies.
Yeah,
But I just think it just lacked a little bit for me. That's it. That's really it for me. Just lacked a little bit. It's a decent movie. It's not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a Scream movie to me. And but Dewey's death scene was fucking incredible. All fairness.
Okay, for my, I would say that it felt like a Scream movie to me until the reveal, because a Scream movie to me is the reveal.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, you can nitpick on stuff, and we did, to be fair.
Yeah.
I like the style of the deaths, you know, and stuff like that. But that's
huge.
I feel like
movie.
I know it's huge in a horror movie, but fine, I enjoy the deaths, so I'm not going to.
You would,
but I would.
You would.
But the reveal, you would.
No, you would.
Sorry, please. If you could let us know who in fact would.
We're going to run a poll here.
Yeah, we're going to run a poll. Let us know who in fact would. You won the poll. Oh, well, I would.
That is so me, because I would.
But I think it all comes down to the reveal. It all comes down to who's the killer. It all comes down to the Columbo moment where he goes, "One more thing, sir."
Yeah.
And he turns around and unravels the whole thing. That's why I watched Columbo. That's why I watched Scream. You know what I mean? Like, I love that energy. I love when I didn't see it and it was there in front of me the whole time. That sort of thing. So it unraveled a bit there at the end. And I think all I would say going forward, I hope I will watch Scream 6 because I enjoyed Scream 5. And I hope the Scream 6 sticks the landing. Because honestly, it's like a gymnast doing pretty well coming off the bar and then breaking their legs on landing. And you know what I mean? That was impressive. But I think the last bit was important too. And that didn't go great.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, because like, especially with a whodunit, like the reveal is everything. And I'm the same as you. I didn't feel the reveal. Like I just didn't. You're just like, meh. And that's unfortunate because on all the other ones, you're like, and even if you knew who it was, just to have your confirmation.
You patted yourself on the back if
exactly.
you knew who it was.
Yeah.
It's kind of called it. That's fine. But like, if you feel something, I didn't feel anything. The inhaler thing made it so obvious because it's not the type of movie where anything like it just doesn't have any conversation that doesn't forward the storyline. Yeah, nothing happens by accident. If she forgot her inhaler, even though she always brings an extra inhaler and she has bad asthma, so she doesn't fuck around with that. Then I was like, no shit.
So are you the same as me? You thought I just lacked a little bit of the guile of the previous four?
Good way of putting it.
Yeah. So you're looking forward to Scream 6? So before we get the fuck out of here,
I'm going to watch Scream 6 because I'm a little soy boy, and that's all there is to it.
I'm going to watch Scream 6 too because we can't help ourselves. But all right, folks, this is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, John Dewey.
And we see you next time. And that was Scream 5. If they want to call it Scream, they can, but it's still Scream 5.
Scram 5. Hope you enjoyed.
Scram 5. All right, see you next time, folks. Peace.
Yo, she bitch. Let's go.